Okay, next up is Dear John, and this is another romance film based on a Nicolas Sparks novel, a la The Notebook. That movie has such wonderful magic and electricity to it due to the great performances by Rachel McAdams and Ryan Gosling, both fantastic. And you know what? This film almost had all those things, but one of the things that really dragged it down was how boring it really was at times. Now, this film is restrained, and I mean that in a very good way, and sometimes a romance film just needs to restrain itself just a little. Now, Channing Tatum plays Special Forces Officer John Tyree, who's on leave for a couple weeks, and while he's having fun on the beach, he meets Savannah Curtis, played by the always wonderful and charming and just downright sweet Amanda Seyfried. They are immediately taken with one another and spend those weeks getting to know each other in almost utterly painful detail. John has a tough guy past he's actually mellowed out from, and he lives with his autistic dad, played by perhaps the most reliable supporting actor in all of Hollywood, former Oscar nominee Richard Jenkins, in a very good role, I might add. Now, the character Savannah doesn't have contrived problems, quote unquote, like some film characters that are like her do, but she has problems that don't cause us to necessarily roll our eyes. She is naive, but she's not stupid, and she's a very kind person because that's who she feels she ought to be to make it in this world. Or that's just how she feels she can make a difference. Now, once it's established that they are in love with walks on the beach and, you know, the whole musical montage, yada 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 yada, John goes back to the service and promises that they'll write letters and write and write and write and write and write. They do non-stop. This is where the film really starts to get boring. So we have to suffer through letter after letter until 9/11, when John becomes torn between his patriotic duty to re-enlist or be back with his girl. Now, the thing is that the film's predictability is there, but to be honest with you, it's not one that causes me to groan in misery like most films like this do. Now, what's also going to happen next is also built in anticipation too, because there are actually some moments in this film where the predictability factor isn't there, where they actually have, I wouldn't say it's major twist or major curveballs, but just enough to actually keep my attention, to be honest with you. The fact is that this film gave me a small drop, a very small dose of originality in some aspects. Sadly, however, that's not a good thing, because that drop left me wanting more, and it left a lot to be desired in this film. I think Amanda Seyfried is progressing very well as an actress. She's far from great, but I really just enjoy watching her on the screen. I really think she's got a bright future ahead of her if she makes the right decisions in her career. Tatum was pretty good in last year's film, Fighting, but really, outside of that, he's done nothing to really blow me away, but he's alright here, so I really can't fault him. I wasn't expecting anything mind-blowing anyway. I could have overlooked all that, but the fact that I was left with the feeling that there could have been more here, that I felt that there could have been something to add to this film, that something was missing and needed, and how boring some of the things in this film were, it plagued my affection for this film. I was on the fence for this film, but I'm going to have to give it the dreaded 2.5 out of 5 stars rating, because I'm going to say that girls won't be disappointed. I think that the guys can suffer through this film, I think, one time at least, to take their girl out on a date. So in that aspect, it's okay. Some people won't be disappointed. I, however, was. So 2.5 stars out of 5 for Dear John.